We have Diana Dynamite Rael in studio. What's happening?
Not much. How are you guys today?
Doing good. Thanks for being here.
Hey,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for having me down.
Of course. How did you get into MMA?
I got into MMA. I'm actually dating Ben Schisler. He's a MMA fighter, Muay Thai fighter. About 4 years ago, he had come to me and said, hey, I found this girl running her mouth. She's about your size and she wants to fight. Do you think you'd be up for the challenge? I said, absolutely. So I put some training in, about, 6 to 8 weeks of training in, went down to Wyoming and beat her up TKO via cut, ref stoppage, first fight MMA, and just lit a fire after that. Just wanted to go for it.
What made you want to continue on doing it? I mean, was there a little bit of, I'm not sure about this, do I want to do this, or any doubt?
Absolutely. There's always a little hesitation just with anything you do in life. You know, you want to make sure you're taking the right avenues and the best thing for you. As far as, me doing it and deciding to do it is, it came, I've never had the feeling that I've ever had doing an MMA fight that I can replicate in anything in my life right now. The challenges that I mentally go through and physically go through, and the things I have to endure, or something that I feel that I can't find anywhere else right now. And I like those challenges. I like to personally, be able to say, hey, I can do that just as well as a man can.
What are some of those mental and physical challenges? Obviously you see what the physical challenges are, but what are some of the mental challenges?
A lot of it is pushing past your physical endurance. Your body is constantly telling you to quit, but you really have to push past that want to quit, and you need to push it to that drive to want. That right there is the bigger picture of the training aspect. The mental things with the losing, that's what I'm dealing with right now. Everybody loses, so I hear.
Yeah, so we're told, right?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I haven't had that taste in my mouth in 2 years, and the past 6 weeks I just lost the fight. You beat yourself up and you say, oh, I should have done that, I should have done this. Well, now I get the opportunity to show that I can do it.
Right.
So that's where it comes in now, where it's not so much of a negative thing. It's a positive thing, you learn what you've done and you push on with it. So, the mental aspect comes in all kinds of manners with MMA.
So what did you take from being defeated 6 weeks ago?
I took a lot from it. I was dominating the fight and I didn't persist with my dominance, which was a big thing. I battled a rear naked choke for, it seemed like, a good 2 minutes. She got a body triangle on me, turned to the lock, and she sunk in the choke with 40 seconds left of the first round.
Right.
As far as that, I learned, first off, have your proper technique at all times. And I was surprised that she shot. She was a supposed stand-up fighter. I should have been the one with the underhooks and should have taken her down with what I had. So I learned to use what you have at that time and don't wait to see what's going to happen. Impose your will is what I learned.
Now, I did watch the fight. Honestly, how much do you weigh?
I truly walk around, and it depends on, the eating and things like that, but I walk around about 150.
But I did see that your last fighter, she was 125 pounds and like 5'3". You being the size that you are, do you find yourself having to look for fights, or is it harder for you to get a fight because of that?
Absolutely is. That was one of the major reasons why I went to a professional level, is because I would have fights set up and then I'd go to the fight and there wouldn't be a girl there. So with the contract, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You have the fight. As an amateur, I was fighting bigger girls. I fought a girl, Kelly Brown. She was huge. I ate a Whopper value meal before I jumped onto the scale.
Yeah.
No joke, and I still didn't make 115 pounds. I started off fighting at 95 pounds. So, I've put on quite a bit. As far as the bigger and smaller opponents, I really don't think that really truly matters. As far as my last fight and her being bigger, she definitely was bigger, and she's definitely put in the last 6 months of losing the weight. And that's one thing now that I'm finding as a pro are these 125 pound girls. Well, let's fight the littler girls, and they're all dropping that weight to 105 pounds. So it's like it's happening again.
Or you have to meet them in the middle, like 115.
Or 110. My last fight was at 110.
There's no way that girl was.
So you're from Florida?
I was actually born in Florida.
Okay.
But I'm actually from Colorado. I've been here since I was knee-high. Still am knee-high, but knee-high, young knee-high.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the eating and the weight and having to fluctuate so much? Is that mentally challenging?
What's mentally challenging is not eating the things you want to eat. That's the mentally challenging hard part about that. You have to fight those urges. You can't go out and eat an ice cream cone every night, unfortunately. But, the eating part, you just have to make your diet good. You have to make it what you want in order to make it enjoyable.
I see that you Muay Thai. Have you ever done any boxing? Have you had any experience before that?
I'm actually 1-0 in boxing professionally.
Sports Munchies on GoMileHigh.com. Shawn, Willis, and Patrick Huber sitting in here with Miss Diana.
DYNOMITE!
How I know her anyways.
Right.
What is your day job, Diana?
I'm actually a preschool teacher. Get to play with the most beautiful 2.5 to 3-year-old children you've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen them.
They're all right.
Right?
Have you ever wanted to choke one of those kids out?
No, actually, you know what?
Liar. Liar.
I get to go and actually train afterwards with dealing with that. So that's how I get rid of that
Gotcha.
one.
Okay, she's not lying. You're 2-1 officially.
Yeah.
How many fights have you had just in general, all total, not including your boxing background?
Okay, as an amateur, I was 3-2.
Okay.
And with 1 Muay Thai fight. And as a pro, I'm 2-1 with 1 professional boxing match.
Do you know who your next fight's going to be and when?
The word is Angelica Chavez in New Mexico. I'm just waiting for the papers and the official documentation.
And when will that be?
The 15th of April.
About on average, how many fights do you do?
I'm not the typical MMA fighter. I'm only a 105-pound fighter. So we're fishing for the 105-pound fighters out there. You know, there's not too many of us. So as far as I got in 3 fights last year, so I would like to do more than that. But
Street fights or just?
No, I don't street fight. I'm not a street fighter.
I'm playing.
It's all about the cage. I don't do it on the street.
So what separates you from all the other fighters, and what gives you what you think the edge is?
You know, I have a good stand-up coach, and what separates me from all the rest of the fighters, I'm fast at what I do. I'm very knowledgeable. I have that sincere drive to want it. I hate losing. I am like
you and me both.
The worst loser.
I can't even lose at a card game without being mad.
Yeah, I'll play with the kids, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't go fish. Screw you. You know, like it's horrible, and that's one of the things too. You know, I can't accept losing. I can't. Still, even though I just lost, I still, I accept that I lost, yes. And she did win, not the taste
Just got
of
to
my
jump
mouth.
back on that horse and do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I watched the fight and I saw when you got up, you didn't look very happy. I can definitely tell that. And that's understandable. Going back to what you eat, give me just a little bit of everyday diet of what breakfast, lunch, and
In the
dinner.
morning, I'll eat, I'll have an apple. Apple's good for carbs. I'll do a Cliff Bar. I'm constantly munching. That's one of my bigger things. Is
Sports
that
munchies.
I have to
That's
munch. I have to munch a lot to keep weight on. So I eat more than the average person would eat. You normally want to get in about 12,000 calories a day averagely, right? Well, I'm trying to get at least 15 or more a day. So I get to eat a lot, which is cool for me. Everybody hates it. I'll do lots of nuts, lots of proteins, chickens, getting lots of vegetables, fresh vegetables, steamed, things like that, rice, the things that most people truly hate eating. But you can season up to your style and make it good that way.
What does being a fighter mean to you?
I look at fighting, it's not just within the cage.
Right.
Life itself is a fight. The fact that I've seen the things that I'm capable of in the cage helps me bring it to being a fighter within life itself and wanting to push and drive to better what I'm doing and better the people around me. Fighting to me is a lifestyle. It truly is. It's a way of life, and it's a way of thinking. I try and keep a clear head and keep that fighter spirit within me.
How do you do that with kids?
And I work at LA Boxing too, and I teach a lot of their youth. I like to teach them and watch them learn.
Where do you see MMA in general in the next 5 years, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
As far as MMA, it's here and it's going to stay. It's
Yeah.
actually one of the more growing popular sports out there. And women's MMA is even getting any bigger, which is awesome. Women's MMA really wasn't anything 2 years ago.
Right.
Now there's an actual sense of, hey, look, we're out there. We can do it too. And we're just as entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
They have...
If not more, when I was watching those fights.
Yeah, absolutely right. And they're a lot more technical a lot of the times too with what they're doing. And women in itself too. It's going to grow. It truly is. There are so many different venues out there doing women's shows. So it's getting wide. It's, the viewing's becoming more broad span for people. For me, I want to reach the top. Where I truly would like to go is Japan, where the small chicks are. And if you look at the strawweight rankings, a lot of them are, from Japan. So it's like, how do you test the best if you can't be by the best?
I mean, there is a Colorado movement as far as MMA goes. Who kind of controls the MMA? Who do you represent when you're out there? I want to know, your sponsors.
My team is the Serial Box. We train out of Advantage Martial Arts off of 64th and Sheridan. My coach and my trainer, and the one that's opened my eyes to my love in life, is Ben Schisler, who has come up with this team and teaches them phenomenal stand-up. He's a Muay Thai instructor that truly cares. The Serial Box as a family. We love each other. We care about each other. We want each other to do well in their fights. We're there for each other when we have those fights, things like that. So I represent the cereal box fight team through Advantage Martial Arts.
Why Dynamite?
I actually worked for a company called Mad Science. The kids came up with the name Dynamite. They said, well, Dynamite sounds great with Diana. I was like, all right, we'll make it Dynamite Diana. And I started doing MMA, and everybody's like, man, you got some dynamite hands. I'm like, well, it's going to be Dynamite.
What are your parents? What does your family think of you boxing and, choking people out and getting bloody?
My family is actually really, really supportive of what I do. They go to most of my fights. They go to the ones they can catch, and they brag about it. They love it. They love hearing anything that I interviews or anything that's written up on me. All the little pictures they see, they always want. They're really supportive about it. Now, some of the more extended family, not so much.
Who is the person is on your list, the person that you want to go at and go toe-to-toe with the most?
Actually, hopefully in April would be the one I want to go.
That's who you want the most? And what's her name again? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's not important. Who are your inspirations? What inspires you?
I would have to say Cyborg as a women fighter idol for me, just because she came in not necessarily like a Karina type of chick, came in rough, rugged, ready to brawl. She's down there to do her thing. And beauty wasn't what was selling her. It was her true fighting style, and it was her true fighting methods that sold her. That's who I personally look up to, and she's a badass fighter too. Sorry if I don't know.
As far as preparation for a fight, what does that take?
There's a lot of chi centering for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We usually do a 6-week camp, cardio, mental, the whole shebang. We go for it. Conditioning, you name it, we do it. We mentally break ourselves and pull ourselves.
Do you still do regular jobs and everything?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself very tired by the end of it. So I'm a teacher, by day, part of the week.
Killer by night.
And absolutely.
What do you want to be remembered as at the end of your career?
What I want to be remembered as is somebody that helped the 105-pound weight division grow in the women's world. Somebody that had a lot of heart in what she did.
Strike Force or UFC?
Strike Force.
I knew it.
But
And why is that?
Why?
Because the ladies fight in Strike Force. They do not
Exactly.
have fighters in UFC.
That's exactly it. And you know what? Dana will open his eyes one day. The money's
He
in there
will.
with the women, so
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Do you have
There's
a
other
favorite
venues.
fighter?
I would say like Cyborg for sure, and I'm a BJ Penn fan. Man, if I could stop a takedown like BJ Penn, I would be the happiest girl in the world.
Speaking of BJ Penn, did you watch that fight?
I totally did.
And what did you think? Pretty
Man.
controversial.
It was pretty controversial, but BJ is one of those third-round guys, cardio shots. But
Yeah.
I still love the man.
He's a little dude.
Yes, and that's another thing. He's a little guy, and he's in there with those big guys and shows them what's up.
What makes you want to get in that cage? What do you feel? What is that feeling like?
When I was first starting fighting, and with amateur career, my coach always said, to build your ring experience.
Mhm.
Plain and simple, that's flat out what it is. A lot more out of control. It's fighting. Where now, as a pro, I go in there and I'm very calm. Do a Thai prayer with my coach before I get into the cage, and that's very calming for me. I just step in, and it's actually a pretty calming feeling for me to step into the cage and to get to impose the things that I know, the traits that I have,
Okay.
and to show the world what Dynamite's made of is how I feel when I go into the cage.
So what do you think about when you get in the ring? Is there anything that goes through your mind, or is it just completely clear, I'm going to win this fight?
I do a lot of mental visualizing as I train. So as I sit there, I picture myself winning, having my hand raised, having my name called, things like that.
Any special shout-outs to anyone?
I do. I actually have quite a few sponsors that I would like to give. I'll do it quickly. First, Advantage Martial Arts in the cereal box, of course. Monavi Juice, Split Lip, Proot Construction, Revolution Chiropractic, Performance MMA, 970 Fighter, Combat Inc., Madison Ortega, the girl that does my braids. You guys like my hair? Madison Ortega is the one to get it done with. She does a great job, not just with braids, but she's a great stylist. So I just want to thank all of you guys for being supportive of me, and all my fans out there. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
If I want to find more about, where's the easiest way to go? Be more involved?
There's a few of them on YouTube that you can go and watch, but I personally have all my fights in a collection and working on getting a montage and things like that ready for
Awesome.
YouTube.
And we'll definitely get back on either before or after that fight in April. We'll get your trainer in studio as well. We want to
good.
thank Diana Rael for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me,
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate it. The Sports Munchies on GoMileHigh.com.